My Hero Academia.
Is this me?
Do you want to?
Is this me?
Do you
yeah,
want?
sure.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, I don't mind.
Hey, Brian's taking the reign on this. Do the thing, Brian.
All right. My Hero Academia, chapter 361, baby!
Baby!
So the chapter starts with
Abnormal happenings.
You got to say the title too, Brian.
Yeah, abnormal happenings. Okay, I keep forgetting
Alternate
that
title.
I keep forgetting that chapters have names. I just kind of like look at the number and I'm like, okay, oh.
We're training. Don't worry, you're still in training. We got you. Hey,
Alternate title. Who the fuck is Shimura?
hey, Brian, your audio's.
And-
Hold on. Time out. You cut out.
Huh?
Now you're back.
What? Hello.
No, you're good. Now you're good.
Okay. All right. So the chapter starts off with Shigaraki as a kid, or like a metaphorical kid, being kind of held back by a bunch of hands, because hands is his thing. And on the inside, he kind of thinks to himself, I told Miku Kun and Tomo we should play together, and it's him as a kid. It's a memory from his past, and he says, I do have friends. Cause like Miku-kun and Tomo said, you're really nice, Ten, and Mon likes to go on walks with me. Did you know that, huh? So yeah, I've got friends, and Mirio and Shigaraki both kind of pause in shock. They're kind of just surprised that happened, and Mirio's like, I'm sorry, dude.
He apologized. That's how rattled he was.
He's like, whoa.
Oh shit!
And then
Bro.
the attacks quickly resume, but Mirio was like lucky enough to catch himself back into the fight, kind of get himself back focused. And he's just shocked. He's just surprised that struck a chord with him, and he kind of starts to think to himself like, damn, he really is like a lot harder to hit now with that new body. Like everything else around him is kind of weak compared to his actual body now. And as Mirio's kind of making this analysis, All For One himself is trying to figure out what the hell just happened there. He says that his the body is complete, and the unification between Shigaraki and himself is well developed, but there's something else that's within him, and it is Tomura Shimura, which was Shigaraki's name before All For One found
His
him.
real name.
And
okay.
yeah, it's his real name. So I guess this is kind of confirming that Shigaraki is kind of a different personality. We don't know to what extent, but he does view this version of Tomura as a different entity, essentially.
Yeah.
So we see this entity as him as a little boy, kind of like in fear, hiding within Shigaraki's body, and he realizes that the more time that they spend here is probably not going to work out to his advantage. So instantly he's like, fuck you. He walks away from Mirio, and Mirio's like, hey, come back. And he kind of acknowledges that Mirio was just a distraction. So Mirio now all of a sudden can't do anything to really stop him. And Shigaraki starts heading towards Bakugo to finish off the job. And as that happens, we get a flashback to what the big three were doing before they started this assault. And it looks like Mirio was kind of planning out what they were going to do, like what their game plan was, and they did execute it. Mirio was like, hey, you guys are the opening act. You guys are going to go out there, distract them, so I can go in and get Bakugo out. And since I can't get hurt by him, I could just keep dodging around and buy some time for Deku to show up. But in order for this to be successful, we need to get a really good hit on him. So what I'm actually buying time for is for Suneater. And then we cut back to Shigaraki making his way towards Bakugo, and fucking Best Genius on his fucking final breaths. He's like, "Come here, bitch!" He's like whipping around a fucking like a bunch of claws. He's like, "Come here, bitch! Drive me!" Yeah. And Shigaraki's like, "Ah, bro, you really doing the most right now, bro. You ain't gonna do shit." And as he's walking towards them, Nejire starts shooting some blasts at him to kind of slow him down a bit. Shigaraki doesn't like that very much, so he sends an assault back and actually tags her. We don't know how much damage to the extent of damage it is, but she did get tagged. And this is when, surprisingly, we get into a little Nejire flashback, where she kind of starts to speak about how her quirk was so powerful that people around her kind of thought she was snobby or thought she was too good for them. So that kind of pushed them away until Suneater came over and asked the same question that Mirio asked him to kind of bring him out of his shell. So that's when they kind of got welcomed in. She got welcomed into their friendship, and they became a nice little trio, where they all kind of respect each other like mutually. And as they keep talking, they're like, "Your quirk." They're talking to Suneater, and they're like, "Your quirk is so much stronger than you think it is. Like the more you eat, the stronger you get." And as they're saying that, we see Suneater kind of have this giant arm cannon with a bunch of combinations of like hundreds of foods that he ate. And at the end of it all, the combination that kind of ties it all together is Nejire's energy. So he ate Nejire's energy to create a gigantic cannon, and they're kind of banking on this being the attack that will damage Shigaraki. And I am so excited for the next fucking chapter because this is my RGC.
Oh shit! This is Brian's really good chapter of the week.
Certified RGC.
It was just this was just very nice, and I'm looking forward to see what you guys have to say about this chapter. Josh, you got anything?
Technically, you're supposed to go Chris first, but that's fine.
Is it?
Oh, Chris.
First
okay.
of all,
My
I'm going
bad.
to go ahead
Is it?
and give
I don't
it
even
my
know.
RGC for this week
What?
as well.
Certified
Oh, yeah.
RGC.
So,
Wow. This got some drama music too.
yeah. All right. So, this chapter struck a nerve with me in a couple different ways, but the author did a good job at putting respect on these three characters' names in an emotional way and in a dynamic way. You know what I'm saying? The way they're fighting. I'm genuinely. I know I had a lot to say before about them, but it's not because I always thought they were corny or something like that. Is that we just seen so little of them, and I wanted to see a little bit more. But like, really, the most we got to see out of any of the three truly was Suneater, because he got his own fight. Even this guy, even Monopoly Boy Mario, we didn't get to see his fight against Overhaul. Not really. It was like a little tactical.
Yeah.
You know, he was trying to save area or something like that, but it wasn't. You know, it wasn't what I wanted. It wasn't like this huge tactical fight. You know, and then he ended up losing his power. Then it was super traumatic. You know, so I felt like we got robbed of that for Mario, and it's not like he's showing out by himself. The point is, we get to see them three working together as a unit, and it's really cool. I enjoy the emotional pull from it. But I guess I'm trying to think about what else I really enjoyed aside from the fact that it showed these three. I didn't love the whole Shimura angle. I'm not gonna lie, that gave me a bad tint at first because again, where the fuck did this come from? But after doing some thinking, I remembered that, and you guys could correct me if I'm wrong, but back in the war arc, the second war arc, I guess, or I don't know, whatever, man. Back when
The first
Shigaraki
war.
was getting generated, he was getting like built up in that container. He came out prematurely. Yeah, I remember that, right?
Yeah, he did. Mm-hmm.
And it's not like there was further development done after the fact. They just kind of took it from there and said, okay, like this is good enough. So perhaps maybe that's why this is a possibility. So it's not really like a kind of ass pull out of nowhere situation. So I wasn't really, Go
Do
ahead.
you mind if I do a rebuttal?
Yeah, please.
So, it was kind of hinted that that the Shimura was still alive within him, because Deku mentioned that it felt like Shigaraki needed saving, right? So we don't know whether that meant he needed saving from All for One, from being possessed, or whether it meant that he had that Shimura personality in him. But they did mention that Shigaraki needed to be saved to some extent. Like Deku felt that need. So this didn't come out of nowhere. Like we knew there was something going on with Shigaraki, but we didn't know what angle Deku was gonna go for to try to save him.
Well, here's what it is. In Shigaraki's flashback, we come to know how he took the name Shigaraki, because that's not his name. That was a name that All for One gave him. And I think that was more to indicate a split in his personality that happened after all of the trauma that he suffered. So that stuff with him coming out and just blurting out that he had these childhood friends, he starts talking like a kid, because that part of him is there's a part of him that's never really matured from that really young boy. So that's what that representation is. It's not a real physical thing. It's a metaphorical thing. It's Shigaraki's real self, the part of him that's been traumatized, the one that's not Shigaraki, that is more Shimura than that, is still within him. Shigaraki is a thing that All for One tried to create. It's the body that he's been trying to take over. So there's really three facets of Shigaraki's personality. There's the real one, that's this little kid. There's the Shigaraki that we all know, that is what All for One has been manipulating and kind of crafting to eventually be his successor and or vessel for him to live within. And there's All for One. This is All for One himself, who is now slowly taking over his body. So that's what this kid is supposed to be. It's more of a symbolic thing, that this is a third facet within his personality, and All for One is kind of also contending with this last nugget of humanity within Shigaraki in order to really take over his body.
He found Shigaraki, right? He didn't plan out that whole situation with him murdering his family and all that.
No.
He just happened to run into him and was like, wow, look at you. You are dirty. You got a pretty cool quirk.
I think he was definitely trying to find him, but he did not. I don't think he was responsible for what happened.
I think what happened was that he heard of the incident and he went to find the kid that did it.
He was like, "That's what's her name's grandson."
Yeah, especially since he had that connection. That does make sense. That's another reason why specifically he's like, "Oh, it's a One for All user's grandchild. Give me that."
Say less. I'm doing it just for the style. He just so happened to be having a real cool quirk,
Yeah.
Also, Shigaraki also got his quirk a year later than most kids do. So there's that as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I think
I thought he would be quirkless or something. Probably. Yeah. Well, no one foresaw that quirk happening.
No.
Let alone it being as crazy as it was.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that shit was wild.
Okay, so.
Anyways.
Yeah, I guess I'll get into my thoughts. I don't know if you're
Yeah, you
done,
might
but-
as well. I mean, just a quick tidbits. Nejire looked really dope. She looked really strong during this fight, which is something she has not looked at all in any type of scene she's been in this comic. I'm sorry, guys.
No,
but
I agree.
She has always screamed gimmick and useless. I'm sorry. I didn't want that to be the case, but it sure as hell isn't now. She was wilding on Shigaraki. He's just a broken monster.
Mm-hmm.
He also had another. I got such a love-hate relationship with this character. When he says, "You people built a tomb for yourselves," it wasn't about it just being a line. It was like how they said that. Oh, this arena was constructed to defeat you. Nigga was like, they just turned that right on their heads. Like, y'all don't know who the fuck y'all talking to. Like,
Yeah,
I does this. I'm gonna bring this whole fucking school and island down, and then I'm gonna go kill me to Rio. Oh man, you gotta love it sometimes. And ew, look at this. I didn't know this was a cannon. I guess now that I'm looking at it, I see what's going on.
yeah. I saw that there's like weird bug legs, and I'm like, oh yeah, Josh would not like this.
Yeah, this is pretty gross.
Yeah.
But it's gonna shoot a nice beam, and I love me some beams.
You do like beams.
I sure love the beams.
Yeah.
Dragon beams, ice beams, hyper beam, and Pokemon.
Yeah.
I like all of that.
I'm a beam guy.
I'm a beam guy.
Um,
Shout out to Beam from Chainsaw Man.
Oh yeah, Beam from Chainsaw Man.
Yes, sir.
Anyway,
Go ahead, Chris.
yeah. Okay. So my thoughts. This was my second place. I really like this chapter quite a bit. Horikoshi fit a lot of story in 12 pages. I don't know if you guys realize that. That's 12.
It was
pages.
11.
Yeah.
No,
11 actually. Oh, you're right. It's 12.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, because it was like a full page spread.
Yeah.
All right.
There's like a couple 2-page spreads or so.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, he did a lot in 12 pages. He fit a lot of stuff, and it didn't feel too cluttered or whatever. It didn't feel rushed at all. I really liked the pacing of this chapter in particular. The Nejire shit, you know what I said. I said that I wanted to see more out of her, and we got exactly that. I'm fulfilled. I've got no complaints. Short and sweet. Her little backstory. It doesn't have to be all complicated and shit. It's a nice little way of showing how the big three got together and became friends. And I love the consistency of like the other two of them knowing who the real star is, which is Suneater. Like,
That's always been the case too. This isn't a brand new development.
Yeah, I mean his name. Miro gave him that name because he's like, the real guy on the team is him. Like the guy, like everybody considers Miro to be the golden child, but really it's Suneater. And
because he technically has no limit.
Yeah, he's so fucking powerful as we see here.
Technically, he has no limit.
Technically,
I like the way they do that.
But yeah, it's really cool, and his design has always been really cool. I love that they're like, he's still the main focus of that team. He's like their sleeper, like he's the one that you'd never expect, but he's probably the strongest guy. And the combination of them using all their powers together and him fusing with Nejire's ability, making that like all come together, it's very cool. I just like the cohesiveness of it all and them really coming together and building off of these established dynamics within the three of them. So that's really all my thoughts. You guys have said everything else that I've wanted to say. And we've talked.
I haven't said everything I wanted to say actually.
Oh, what did you?
Don't forget to leave a like.
Oh yeah, why don't you
comment what you like about My Hero Academia or this chapter?
Yeah,
you should subscribe to us on YouTube, and then maybe share it with your homies.
Yeah, that would be nice.
We'd love that.
And we'd love that. Hey, it'd put them.
I'd love that just as much as I love beans, guys. Believe it or not.
Yeah. Yeah, that would put a smile on my face. I'd be happy. But yeah, that's all I got to say about My Hero Academia. It was a pretty great chapter. Very deserving of the RGCs that the other guys gave it. Yeah, are we ready to move on?
Yep.
I had something to say.
Oh, what is it, Brian?
Yeah, so I really love this chapter.
I'm sorry, we didn't get to your thoughts. I just realized.
I love that Suneater kind of. I love the relationship between the three. You know, like they like when they came up with a plan, they executed it flawlessly. Like the plan that they mentioned in the last chapter was executed perfectly. Like it went exactly as they planned. And plus their friendship is just so fucking cute. Like you really can't, like I love Horikoshi when it comes down to this stuff. When it comes to like fleshing out characters within action. I feel like that was one of his best things that he does, especially like ever since the beginning. Every time there's combat, there's always an opportunity for growth within every character. So that's why I think these war arcs are the best things he's done in My Hero, mainly because there's so many opportunities for him to play with. And also another thing that I found super interesting, it fucking glanced my mind all of a sudden. Let me look real quick. Sorry. Oh, there's also Bakugo still looking for his opportunity. I wonder what would happen if Suneater kind of ate one of Bakugo, like a drop of Bakugo's sweat or something. What do you think would happen? Yeah, not to be weird.
You asking genuinely?
Well,
yeah,
you know, the nitroglycerin
an
sweat.
Explosion. They're probably gonna blast them at the same time.
Yeah,
That'd be really cool. That'd be so fucking dope. Actually.
Yeah, that probably is what's gonna happen. Yeah,
by the way,
he'd probably be able to do
my
it.
bad to butt in on your thoughts. However, I just want to shout out something. If y'all go to page 8, where y'all see Nejire get hit, I just like Horikoshi's really good at at showing like critical damage without people like clearly being maimed or put out. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
If you think about Bleach, sometimes people would get cut in such a way that you're like, yo, there's no way they're still alive, but they're just running around and they're fine. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like where
you only cut off my left arm.
Yeah.
Right. With My Hero Academia, even when I go back to one of my favorite, I guess mini arcs, when what's his name? Endeavor was fighting against the Nomu. When he took those tentacles to like the side of his face and like his chest, I thought he got killed, but when he got back up and kept fighting, I was like, oh, okay, he just missed, like his vital organs. That's not something to nitpick over. I think that was just like well displayed art, and he's always done that really well.
Yeah.
And like
the art in this channel
here.
Amazing.
Yeah. But specifically to like taking damage in a somewhat realistic way, but also not in a maim way. I didn't articulate that great, but I know you guys understand.
Yeah, no, I get it. Yeah, I love this chapter. Everything from the writing to the art, like everything was amazing. And this is where Horikoshi shines, Yeah. This is his shit. These war arcs are his shit.
Yeah. I don't even talk about the art anymore. You know what it is. It's amazing. You know what I'm gonna how many times am I gonna say?
Would you guys say it's the best out of like the regular Jump issues when it comes to art?
Me personally, I think it's the best art in Jump. But that's me.
Like in general?
Right now.
Isn't One Punch Man
currently,
still a thing?
No, I'm saying currently in the magazine of Shonen Jump specifically.
In the weeklies.
Yes. It's the best art.
I agree with that.
Oh, I would have to agree.
Yeah. But that's just me. Art is subjective.
Horikoshi. Keep it up, brother. Is like a really good streak you got going.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Keep that shit up.
My Hero's been in a bit of an uptick, and I've been appreciating it. I love My Hero. I'm in the middle of my read through. I'm pretty much almost done with the sports festival. I'm going through it.
I told you guys.
Listen.
My Hero is gonna pick up on this war arc. The war arc always saves My Hero every time.
It's only happened another time, so small sample size.
Yeah, exactly.
And I've decided to not be miserable as this series starts to end.
Yeah,
so
Josh
you're welcome.
Josh had to find Zen.
I made a conscious decision to enjoy this.
Yeah. Well,
and only be critical when it really
that's it.
deserves to be